Our demographic weight.
The prospect that Quebec might actually secede from Canada brought tens of thousands of Canadians into the streets of Montreal on Friday to implore Quebec not to do it. The latest polls show a race too close to call, but with surging support in favor of independence. The turmoil has been costly. In the past week alone, the Canadian stock market has taken a beating, and the Canadian dollar has tumbled. Most English-speaking Canadians are adamantly opposed to the disintegration of their union.
This is truly lottery. It's like going to Las Vegas and betting the future of your family and future generations. It's absolutely nuts.
Montreal businessman Phil O'Brien brought out several thousand of his colleagues at a rally to defeat the referendum.
You can think about it maybe in some Eastern European country, but not in North America. It just doesn't make sense. And the impact on North America, on all of us North Americans, is quite drastic. It's not just on Canada, it's on all of us.
Certainly the stakes for the U.S. are huge. Canada is a key ally, and this nation's largest trading partner, exchanging more than $200 billion worth of goods annually. An independent Quebec could threaten both the economic stability and political viability of Canada as it is today.
In a world darkened by ethnic conflicts that literally tear nations apart, Canada has stood for all of us as a model of how people of different cultures can live and work together in peace, prosperity, and respect.
Visiting Ottawa earlier this year, President Clinton sent an unmistakable signal that the United States would prefer to see Canada remain intact. But the voters in Quebec may not have been listening.
I'm sure that Quebec, on its own, would not only survive, but flourish.
Montreal publisher Michel Brûlé, along with filmmaker Pierre Falardeau and writer Jennifer Aline, all support independence.
Being a French community lost in a sea of English-speaking people, I think there's an emergency to become a people, an independent people.
This fight is a matter of life or death. It's not a constitutional discussion. It's a matter of the liberation of a people. For me, when Jennifer talked, it's not only a feeling that we're disappearing, it's reality.
Even if Quebecers vote yes to secede, complex questions remain to be negotiated with Canada. Will Quebec have its own armed forces? Will its people use the Canadian dollar? Will an independent Quebec pursue its own foreign policy? Christian Lessard hopes not.
The choice we have to make here is a final one. If you get out of Canada, we won't be able to ask in 2 years, in 3 years, can we get back in? If we get out, then we're out, we're on our own.
Quebec businessman Christian Lessard will vote no against independence. Law professor Marie-France Chabot will vote yes.
We've honestly tried to make an arrangement for 30 years now. It doesn't work. It's now or never.
Chicken not getting rave reviews? Then get Shake and Bake. It's crispy, it's juicy, and they'll want an encore. It's simple. They want Shake and Bake.
Hey kids, now there's Oscar Mayer free. Hot dogs, bologna, and turkey with no fat. And the taste every kid loves. New Oscar Mayer free brand. Shouldn't all you kids grow up with Oscar Mayer?
Hero. from IBM. See and hear me at Radio Shack.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta has created an event just for business travelers, the International Dash. With 4,900 daily flights to 300 cities, we'll fly you to the business world with a schedule that's as full as yours. And we don't do it so we can finish first. We do it so you can. Delta Airlines.
When Sunday morning returns, why is the ecclesiastical music of another age all the rage a millennium later?
CBS presents a stirring Harlequin romance of sweeping passion and dangerous secrets. At the midnight hour today. It's Halloween night. The lights are out.
We'll have to take measures to conserve the power available.
In the dark, the strangest.
I couldn't have noticed when you and Kate Austin were married.
The most unexpected. The most miraculous things will occur.
You were on my mind all weekend.
All New Chicago Hope Monday.
You're on CBS.
Remember when battery installation was simple? Well, times have changed. Now, many cars require special equipment to diagnose battery problems. Special tools are needed for proper installation. Recommendation, come to Les Schwab. We take pride in doing things right and complete. It's why we clean and inspect your cables first, then install your battery. Backed in writing with the Les Schwab warranty. When it's time for your next battery, come to Les Schwab. We install it free.
Imagine reinventing the way people look at cars once again. The all-new 1996 Mercury Sable. The best-selling Mercury's been totally reinvented. Good-looking outside with good thinking inside. Imagine it's this affordable. Sable gives you more standard horsepower than Camry or Accord, and they can't match Sable's room or style. Everything about it has changed, except the value.
Imagine yourself in a Mercury now.
At your Mercury dealer.
Sleep & Air Mattress Factory Store's president makes this promise.
If we can't beat any retailer's price with our Sleep & Air, Simmons, Spring Air, or adjustable bed, your mattress set is free.
Sleep & Air handcrafts mattresses and adjustable beds in our own factory.
Our Sleep & Air electric adjustable beds are luxurious and therapeutic. We make them ourselves in all mattress sizes, types, and price ranges.
Buy from the people who make them. Sleep & Air, the best value every day, the best sleep every night.
Mike Donahue, News Center 6.
It's Sunday morning on CBS. And here again is Charles Osgood.
A streetcar named Desire now and a critic named Leonard. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Charles.
A great play has wheels. It keeps on knocking us down decade after decade, like a streetcar named Desire. After each collision, we're different casualties. In the 50s, at the movies, we actually rooted for Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski. Blanche was such a phony with her trunk of rhinestones. She teased poor Stanley in his T-shirt in his bathroom, provoked him with perfume and paper lanterns, put him down, as if lying to yourself on a ruined plantation were somehow superior to beer and bowling. Injured in his proletarian animal magnetism, he raped her. In the 90s, tonight on CBS, with Alec Baldwin instead of Brando, there's less excuse for swinish Stanley. From so many TV movies, we know more than we want to about the abuse of women. It's the same play with a different audience. On the other hand, Jessica Lange looks a lot healthier than Vivian Lee. You'd think she could take out Alec and his 37 brothers. What we see tonight is a filmed version of Streetcar's 1992 Broadway revival. Shabby genteel Blanche arrives in New Orleans from Mississippi, where she taught children the poems of Mrs. Browning and had been intimate at the Flamingo Hotel with soldiers and strangers.
What's the matter, honey? You lost?
They told me to take a streetcar named Desire, transfer to one called Cemeteries, and ride 6 blocks and get off at Elysian Fields.
That's where you're at now.
Stella, 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 Stella. Oh.
She's visiting her pregnant sister Stella with Diane Lane in the old Kim Hunter role. Stanley, eating corn on the cob, is not exactly couth.
Mr. Kowalski is too busy making a pig of himself to think about anything else. Your face and your fingers are disgustingly greasy. Go and wash up and then help me clear the table.
Good evening.
Hello.
John Goodman's Mitch is at first bewitched, but he has a mother to worry about.
How do you do?
How do you do, Miss Dubois?
As Blanche drinks and dreams, Stanley drinks and schemes. After some rough stuff sends Stella to the hospital, Blanche and Stanley are left alone.
You think I'll interfere with you? Come to think of it, maybe you wouldn't be so bad to interfere with.
Stay there. Don't come toward me another step or
What?
some awful thing will happen. It will.
What are you putting on now?
I warn you. I'm in danger. No.
And so she goes crazy, to be carted away like the trash.
Whoever you are, I have always depended on the kindness of strangers.
There hasn't been a TV streetcar since Anne Margaret and Treat Williams in 1984. We've seen second-rate Tennessee Williams instead. Natasha Richardson and Maggie Smith trying to save Suddenly Last Summer, Elizabeth Taylor embarrassing herself in Sweet Bird of Youth. I'd like to see Katharine Hepburn and Sam Waterston in The Glass Menagerie again, or a radiant Blythe Danner in Eccentricities of a Nightingale. We've also dined on a steady diet of Tennessee Williams' knockoff TV movies, obsessed with lynching, rape, abortion, lobotomy, castration, and cannibalism, not to mention artists and invalids as misunderstood outsiders and the love that dare not speak its name. But what's missing from these trauma dramas is the language that made the Williams plays important and their wounds glow in the dark. It's a language easy to parody, cryptic, creepy, quasi-poetic, with a sweet tooth for the raptures of the swoony deep, and Williams abused it himself in the decline of his career. In Streetcar Tonight, however, it sails and soars, like boats and dreams, for which Blanche will be punished by thuggishness and lunacy.
Some would say going 100,000 copies without an unscheduled service call is impressive. Sharp would say, it's a beginning. Sharp. Call for your free interactive kit of copier solutions.
Today, our country enters the 21st century with a private...
Around the world today, industries once owned by governments are increasingly owned by investors.
That privatization leads...
And by advising governments in privatizations, Merrill Lynch is helping lead the way.
Better life for our people.
Further evidence that for all our clients, the quality of our advice makes a difference. The difference is Merrill Lynch.
This may not look like summer camp, but it is. It's Zoo Camp at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. And every summer, kids like me come here to learn about some amazing things, like how dinosaurs grew up, that snakes only look scary, and spiders are very interesting. Best of all, it's fun for us and the animals.
Busch Gardens is an Anheuser-Busch company. Helping kids better appreciate our world is our pledge and our promise.
So MCI's friends and family comes to me and says, we have really big news. I said, great, let me tell it. They said, well, we got something a little bigger in mind.
Friends and family, automatic savings, every call, even bigger savings for one and all. Don't need names, don't need lists, savings automatic, get a gift.
Look, the whole naming thing, you don't need it. You get friends and family, you get savings. Simple. Friends and family.
Choose the Sharp fax that scans, copies, and prints right from your desktop PC. And what picture will the boss have of you? call for your free interactive kit of fax solutions.
Ebola. It's one of the deadliest viruses known to man. A killer nothing could stop. Until maybe this.
This material is extremely pure and extremely potent.
In a high-security military lab, Dr. Bob Arnott investigates a bold claim. A cure for Ebola. The story Monday on the CBS Evening News.
Eugenia Zuckerman joins us now. Eugenia, talk about the golden oldies. Gregorian chant making a comeback after 1,000 years or so. What is chant, anyway?
Well, it started out as plain song in the early Christian era, and then in the 7th century, Pope Gregory made some very strict rules for these melodies, which were called modes, hence Gregorian chant. But it's just fascinating that this ancient music has such a vast modern following.
Vast? Is it really vast?
Very vast. 6 million copies of chant have been sold, and that's still on the Billboard. And Chant 2 has just come out, and that hit the charts at number 5.
That's amazing, and that is a lot of people. But who are they? Who are these people who are following this, and why do they find it so fascinating?
It's a very wide range of people who love this music, who have come to it. Perhaps it's because they've never heard it before. It has a very wonderful ring to it. I think also in this very frantic world we are living in, chant and other medieval music speaks to a kind of a peace and serenity. During the Middle Ages, prayer and music were inseparable. But in the last few years, that very same music, liturgical chant, has left the church and hit the charts. The Benedictine monks of Santo Domingo de Silos in Spain pray 7 times a day. They still do, even though they've been discovered and gone triple platinum. But the monks say that commercial success isn't what matters.
Did you celebrate in any way when you became number 1?
No, we did not celebrate it. We celebrate Christmas or something similar, but no, the number 1.
While chant may be one of the most successful classical albums ever, the first time medieval chant showed up on Billboard's Top 10, it was an album from these 4 women. Together, they are known as Anonymous 4. Individually, they are Ruth Cunningham, Marcia Janensky, Johanna Rose, and Susan Hellauer.
What happened after the recordings exploded in terms of sales was that we finally got to leave our other means of employment and focus totally on the group.
When it's time, I'll say, okay, we're ready to go. They'll roll and record on videotape. We'll work it through from top to bottom.
And even as Anonymous 4 prepares a promotional video required in this new age, the music still resonates as it has for the last 1,000 years. In Northampton, Massachusetts, people gathered to hear 13th and 14th century chant in honor of the Virgin Mary.
Mary really got the best music and the best poetry in a lot of places, and it moves me greatly. It seems to move all of us greatly.
People are looking for a quieter, more spiritual place in their lives, and this music seems to speak very directly to that.
Yeah, that's nice. More anchored, yes.
The group, Anonymous 4, has spent years researching early music, attracted by the beauty of the sound. They began performing together almost 10 years ago, well before the phenomenon of chant swept the nation.
Stand right on that fuzzy thing.
I'll stand right here.
Our first concerts took place right here in this little chapel, and our very first audience in the fall of 1986 had 12 people, and 6 of them were from Johanna's family.
Earlier this month, A concert in that same church, St. Michael's in New York City, drew a full house.
It's very spiritual. It's very meditative. I think that's what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, it really does take you to another place.
It has a plaintive, meditative quality to it that I think a lot of people appreciate, whether they're, a devout religious person or not.
After a lot of pressure, it's just a way of getting back in touch with my inner self.
Especially Hildegard's music. It's very, very special.
That's Hildegard von Bingen, a Benedictine abbess who was born almost 900 years ago. This concert was centered around the Feast of St. Ursula and the 11,000 Virgins, for which Hildegard wrote several liturgical works.
Hildegard was really one of the very few medieval people, not just women, of her time to have her name attached to the pieces she wrote, because for the most part, for sacred music in the Middle Ages, you didn't sign it. You wouldn't sign your music because it was all for the glory of God.
Everyone seems to be singing the music of Hildegard these days. Anonymous 4 in New York, to the group Sequentia in Germany, to Sister Germaine Fritz in New Jersey. Sister Germaine is the prioress of the Benedictine Sisters of Elizabeth, New Jersey. Prayer is the most important time of the day for these Benedictine sisters. When Angel Records was looking for a nun to record the works of Hildegard von Bingen, Sister Germaine was interested.
I find her music beautiful. It is chant. It's not the chant I'm accustomed to, so I had to work to learn the music and to become comfortable with it, but I find her music haunting. I find it very, very prayerful. And so it's been a wonderful experience for me.
It's also an experience that sent Sister Germaine on a worldwide promotional tour. She recorded Vision with soprano Emily Van Evera, who appeared on the music video. While the marketing of the music sometimes seems at odds with the message, Sister Germaine is sure that the message is getting across.
Hildegard's music and other music of its kind, I think sometimes calls forth from us that spiritual longing that is there and which we very often simply don't pay attention to because we're too busy. I think it's in that quiet that we're able to be reflective of the important things.
For the group Anonymous 4, singing medieval music is one of the important things. Singing for their audience and for themselves. Is it for you just icing on the cake that it's so popular?
Yes, it is, actually. You know, if it weren't popular, we'd still be doing it.
But it's nice that it's popular.
Great.
Imes understands that the simple act of petting a dog can make people healthier and happier. It's even been suggested that people who own dogs lead longer, fuller lives. Now, knowing what dogs do for you, wouldn't it be nice to do the same for them? You can, by feeding your dog Imes every day. It's more nutritious because its quality ingredients are more digestible. Imes dog food, good for life, from the Imes Company.
Amongst the smoldering ashes of the Northwest charred public forest lies a tragic lesson. Much of the destruction caused by last summer's wildfires could have been prevented had foresters been allowed to thin dead and diseased stands. But now is the time to do the right thing, to begin the restoration and salvage work critical to the recovery of your scorched public forests. We must act quickly if we're to salvage the burned timber for wood products instead of letting it decay. Don't let burned trees rot and go to waste. It's time to do the right thing. A message from your local forest products companies.
I'm going to every corner and county of Oregon, talking to Oregonians. They believe what I believe. They believe in a balanced budget. They believe in lower taxes.
A businessman. In just 1 year as Oregon Senate President, he's fought for Oregonians, balancing the budget without raising taxes, welfare reform, and a tax rebate this November for Oregon families.
I want to break the status quo of career politicians. That's what I want to go to Washington to change.
Hi.
I'm Gordon Smith. I'm running for the United States Senate.
Just a little piece of paper. But this card from the Boys and Girls Clubs has kept millions of young people off drugs, out of gangs, and in school. It's only a little piece of paper. It tells every kid who carries it that someone cares about what they do with their lives. You know, every day another 300 kids join the club, but there are thousands more who need help. Find out how you can put this card in the hands of a child and change that child's life. It's up to us. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Down at your local bookstore one day this week, your eye may fall on a newly published volume entitled Call the Briefing. It's by a man whose job was to be assailed on a regular basis by the assembled White House press corps. If you've ever wanted to know what it's like to be spokesman for the President of the United States, just listen with Bill Plant to a man who was.
And it was always cool and sunny, and the mansion looms up before you as you walk up the steps from the car. And there's a great feeling of I'm a part of all this.
Marlin Fitzwater was part of it all for 10 years, a very long time as White House service goes. So until you walked inside, everything was great.
Everything was great till I got in the door, and then it was all over.
And here is Marlin Fitzwater now with the...
And then you had to start thinking, well, how am I going to get through this one? Will the president be in a good mood today? Or if you know there's a bad story in the paper, you said, oh, I don't want to have to go face the president. He's going to be mad as the devil.
Fitzwater served two presidents, Reagan and Bush. More than 2,000 times, by his count, he came to the White House briefing room to spar with the ornery and contentious White House press corps.
How long the president intends...
Marlin handled that very well yesterday.
As press secretary, Fitzwater had 3 handy rules for survival.
The first was cave early and often, which is to say if I made a mistake, admit it and get out quick. The second rule was grovel if you have to, meaning that if you've really done something dumb, you better get down on the floor and willing to say you're sorry and apologize quick, because it just doesn't pay to continue a fight with the press corps. They always win.
Fitzwater invoked rule number 3 twice, just before the United States invaded Panama, and again immediately before the launch of Operation Desert Storm.
Thirdly, when all else fails, you can run and hide. And in both of those occasions, I spent 3 hours down in the Situation Room by myself, just because I knew that there was really nothing more we could say.
Summit? No set date on the summit. I don't know where that came from.
What about all those so-called leaks, tidbits of supposedly secret information, which drove presidents and their staffs crazy when they appeared in print or on the air? Fitzwater admits that most leaks came from inside the White House, as when stories began to appear suggesting White House Chief of Staff Don Regan was in trouble.
And so when I saw these stories, I thought, well, somebody's out to get him. And I went to President Reagan, and he said, I like Don Regan. You know, there's nothing to this. And so I was defending him, and then I got the call from Mrs. Reagan that said, about those stories, Marlin, stay out of them. I said, yes, ma'am.
Then you knew.
Then I knew where it was coming from. And he was gone within a week.
And though President Reagan told Fitzwater he liked Chief of Staff Regan, he made one subtle change when Fitzwater drafted a letter for him accepting Regan's resignation.
And I read him one that said, I have deep regret about the resignation of Don Regan. And I finished the whole letter, and there was a silence, and President Reagan came back and said, take out the word deep.
Fitzwater says the White House staff viewed the press as an unwanted appendage and was often reluctant to give him the facts. So he says he had to be a reporter as well, because much of what the staff told him was just not true.
It's not intentionally wrong. People don't lie to you, but everybody has their own angle. And everybody you go to has their own kind of axe to grind or their own view of what's right. John?
A lot of people think that members of the press are biased one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody who works in the White House thinks the press are biased against them, whatever they are. I'm sure that the Clinton White House thinks you're all conservatives and closet Gingrich fans, you know. We thought everybody was closet liberal and fans of the Democratic Party. It just goes with the territory.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
That pledge, probably more than anything else, was what the public remembered about electing George Bush president in 1988. But the atmosphere in the White House, says Fitzwater, is so rarefied that the people inside often lose touch with reality. In 1990, White House Chief of Staff John Sununu negotiated a budget deal with Democrats in Congress, which included something called revenue enhancements.
In the book, I describe about calling Governor Sununu out of this meeting after I'd been given the statement, which is a two-line statement that says we're going to raise taxes, essentially, only using the word revenue enhancement. And I said, Governor, this is breaking the pledge. I said, the country's going to go crazy. And he said, you're crazy. It doesn't say that. Put it out. Turned and walked back in the meeting. And I went and posted it on the bulletin board, and within 2 nanoseconds, the press corps was saying, we got them now, they broke the pledge. And the story was everywhere. It was probably the worst mistake of the Bush presidency.
Fitzwater himself made some mistakes. 2 of them big enough that he feared for his job. He called Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev a drugstore cowboy. President Reagan forgave him. Gorbachev did not.
He was at a reception, and we were going through the line, and the interpreter said, Mr. Chairman, this is Marlon Fitzwater, who said those nasty things about you. And Gorbachev stopped and looked back, and his fist came up and said, if you were in my country, I would scold you. And I said, well, I get scolded in my country, too. And then Gorbachev looked away, and I got the hell out of there.
Fitzwater's other misstep came deep into the 1992 campaign.
What'd you call it? Well, that was pretty scary. It was the end of the campaign, and I sound like President Clinton here. I was tired. It was late at night. But in any case, I called the press a bunch of lazy bastards.
I want to get a copy of your book.
But almost no one in the White House press corps ever held that against Marlon Fitzwater. Reporters, most of them, remained fond of him. He was pretty good at an impossible job, serving 2 masters, the president and the press.
Well, I think the White House needs more ways to bring America in, not more ways to take it out. And like the press or not, you know, as nasty as they can be and as rude and as tough and irreverent, that's the way most of America is. And it's good for presidents and their staff to hear that sort of thing. Even if you don't like it, it's good to hear it.
From Washington then to Washington now. Talk with Bob Schieffer in a few minutes' time about some matters of great moment that are just now being decided in the nation's capital. And then we will travel to Iowa, where something more is to be found in the fields and small towns than you might think. Sunday morning will continue.
Kids and violence.
Is your child at risk?
We have to run home from gunshots. It can happen to anyone.
It just needs to stop.
We'll talk about it with our live audience.
Plus, Terry Ellis of En Vogue performs on our stage.
And all the latest news and weather.
Tomorrow on the news, CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.
Come in from the cold with the instant warmth and the high efficiency of a natural gas fire. It's the best way to make a house a home. Add the beauty of a Lennox fire to your home. When it comes to capturing the warmth and wonder of a wood fire, no one does it better than Lennox. The Lennox fire is so natural, it's virtually undistinguishable from a wood fire. And because it's natural gas, it's much cleaner than wood and more convenient to use. Don't let winter catch you unprepared. For a name you can trust, see your independent Lennox dealer today. Natural gas hearth products, it doesn't get any easier.
How can a tiny grass seed like this grow into one of Oregon's most important industries? Well, just look around. It's been used in hundreds of applications. It's created thousands of jobs. And sold worldwide, it brings millions of dollars to Oregon's economy. Hundreds and thousands and millions. Impressive numbers for something so small that grows into something so beautiful. Oregon grass seed farmers, growing for the world.
You know, with my family, volume is never a problem. At least not this kind. But some of us need a little help putting volume in our hair.
Dad?
That's why we developed Aussie Real Volume Shampoo and Leave-In Volumizer. They texturize and actually change the diameter of your hair, taking you from this to this. With Aussie Real Volume, fuller-looking hair is a snap. Real Volume Shampoo and Leave-In Volumizer, only from Aussie.
Shirley Hancock, News Center 6.
In the next 30 minutes of Sunday morning, some grand old men of baseball gather together to remember and be remembered.
In every number, there is a question. Is there life after retirement? How far will your company go? In every number, there is a question. And if you have the vision to see it, an answer. You see numbers, we see opportunities.
At BASF, we don't make the mattress, we make it softer. We don't make the boots, we make them drier. We don't make the house, we make it livelier. We don't make the snowboard, we make it stronger. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
Hertz is giving away double frequent flyer miles? Exactly. Let me get this straight. You got this great car from Hertz and double frequent flyer miles. Exactly. You're not going to stop that, are you?
You mean our Hertz car for the weekend is only $25 a day?
Exactly.
With free unlimited mileage and Hertz service?
Exactly.
What else could we ask for?
Some marshmallows?
Hertz, only $25 a day. Marshmallows not included.
It's Sunday morning on CBS. And here again is Charles Osgood.
And CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer joins us now from the nation's capital. Morning, Bob.
Morning, Charles.
Bob, did you see the piece on Norman Fitzwater, Bill Plant's piece?
I did see that, and I guess that's kind of a reminder, isn't it, that presidents not only have to be careful what they tell the press, they now have to be careful what they tell the press secretary.
That is true. Did it bring back any memories for you?
Well, it did. I was not there during the Bush administration, of course, but I covered the White House when President Ford was there and President Carter was there. I always remember the first press conference, the primetime press conference that President Ford called on me by name. It was in prime time, and I couldn't remember exactly what I wanted to ask, so I got up and asked a question, and his response was, "Mr. Schieffer, you have it exactly backwards." And as he began to give his answer, it was clear to everyone in the room, and I'm sure to all of the people watching on television back home, that I did have it exactly backwards. Tom Brokaw was the White House correspondent for NBC in those days. When I sat down, I looked over. He had laughed so hard that he took the handkerchief out of his breast pocket and put it in his mouth. So his laughter wouldn't disrupt the press conference. So every time I see a White House press secretary, I think back to those days. After you've made a fool of yourself in front of that many people, it takes a lot to shake you up after that, Charles.
I don't think there's anybody in this business who's not made a fool of themselves at least once or twice. Bob, about the Washington these days, we had a week in which a couple of budget bills were passed, one in the House and one in the Senate. Is the problem going to be to arrive at an agreement between House and Senate?
I think the problem, Charles, is going to be to kind of go through this kabuki theater that we're into now and let that run its course. Everyone knows that once the Senate and the House work out their differences in this bill, and they will, it will take a while, there will be a lot of posturing and a lot of talking, a lot of intramural fighting between the Republicans themselves, but they will work out the differences. Then they will send the bill to the White House. And then, just as he has said he is going to do, the president will veto it. I asked Laura D'Andrea Tyson, the president's top economic advisor, yesterday, why not just put all of that aside? Everybody knows what's going to happen. Why not start the negotiating process now? She said, well, there's really nothing to talk about. But I think closer to the truth of the matter is what the Senate Minority Leader, Tom Daschle, said the other day in a press conference when someone asked him the same question. He said, you have to understand, we have to make a record. Well, now what the translation of that is, everybody has to get on the record with their position so they can lay out those positions for next fall's campaign. A lot of people in the Senate are going to be running for a re-election. Senators on both sides. The president's going to be in a campaign. Everybody wants to lay out a record. I say everybody just really wants to make their television commercials now. So we just have to sort through all of this before we really get down to the business of what the compromise is going to be. I think that will come sometime around Thanksgiving. Until then, just a lot of posturing on both sides, I'm afraid.
Which I guess is not unexpected given the season. But Bob, how about there's a new CBS News New York Times poll that has just come out that I'm sure must be giving pause on both the Democrat and Republican sides. And especially because of the performance in that poll of Colin Powell.
I think that is as remarkable as this bill that passed yesterday. And make no mistake about it, what the Congress has done is remarkable. They're talking about balancing the budget, but they're talking about a bill that touches every facet of American life, from how many taxes we pay to overhauling welfare, Medicaid, and Medicare. All of those things. But putting that aside, I think equally remarkable is this CBS News New York Times poll that came out yesterday that shows the one person who has not announced he is a candidate for president leads all of the candidates in the Republican field, and that would be Colin Powell. This was a survey taken last week among Republican voters. It shows that Powell would beat Bob Dole, who is the only other Republican who's even showing up in double digits, handily if he decides to seek a Republican nomination. And beyond that, this poll says that in a two-man race, that Colin Powell would beat Bill Clinton handily by 50% to 38%. I think that's really astonishing. Now, it's a long way until the election, and we all know that. But the fact that someone who's not even said he's running for president is showing up with those kind of numbers in the polls tells you something.
I think it had been conventional wisdom that perhaps inside the Republican Party that Powell was not going to be conservative enough. But this poll actually asked people the kind of people who would be voting in the primary in New Hampshire.
Well, that's it, and I think that is one of the interesting things about it. This is not one of those broad polls just asking people all over America. It's asking people in the Republican Party, who would your candidate be, and Colin Powell is showing up as the favorite. So he is a factor that's going to have to be reckoned with, whether he decides to run or not.
Of course, he is at the moment in seclusion, having finished his book tour and making up his mind. I would think, wouldn't you, Bob, that the results of this poll might enter into his decision?
I would think so, but I mean, he's doing so well in seclusion, maybe he'll want to stay there and just, long toward the end say, I am running, by the way, vote for me, because he's doing nothing but this carefully constructed, I say he's doing nothing. Actually, he's doing a very carefully planned book tour. He's just finished that. His numbers continued to go up while he was on this book tour, and I suspect before Thanksgiving, we're going to hear him say one way or another. I said 6 weeks ago that I thought if he was going to run, that he would run as an independent. I'm now in the process of eating those words. I believe he is going to run, and I believe he's going to seek the Republican nomination.
And that's going to be your subject on Face the Nation today?
It absolutely is, and we'll be talking to people who feel have very different feelings about that. Bill Bennett, who thinks that Colin Powell ought to run. Dave Keene of the American Conservative Union, who thinks he would not be good for the Republicans. We're also going to check in with the governor of New Hampshire, Steve Merrill, and also with Jeb Bush, who's running a big straw poll down in Florida. I think we're going to have an interesting broadcast this morning.
We'll be watching, Bob. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Later on in this half hour, we will meet the Pied Piper of writing for some folks in Iowa. And on the same weekend, Atlanta wins the World Series. We'll stop in at a reunion of some of the greats of baseball's old Negro League.
No, you voted, Clark. Yeah, he could run. Yeah, he did. But they had two.
As the official airline of the 1996 Olympic Games, Delta is setting the pace for business travelers with an event of its own, the Around the World Relay. It's a team event, coordinating thousands of flights a day to cities throughout the world. So you can go from one plane to another, one place to another, in record time. Delta Airlines.
When it comes to mutual funds, it's often hard to tell what you're looking at. Is this one better? Or this one? Schwab makes finding funds that may be right for you easy with the Select List. Each quarter, we analyze the more than 350 no-load funds we provide, based on data from Morningstar, to give you a summary of the historically high performers. For a free trial subscription, call 1-800-5-NO-LOAD and see if it doesn't help bring things into focus.
In business today, you never know what's going to creep up on you. The smallest things can disrupt your cellular calls, your business calls, your faxes. That's why AT&T is going farther to protect your business against virtually anything. Now all your calls on AT&T's long-distance network are guaranteed end-to-end.
Good evening, Mr. Katz.
AT&T, for the life of your business.
Bad. The caffeine removed, the spirit untouched. Made from 100% Colombian beans, the richest coffee in the world. Naturally decaffeinated. Bad. Taste this decaffeinated and you will taste the spirit of coffee.
A game apart now. In the World Series that just concluded with disappointment for Cleveland and exultation for Atlanta, nobody mentioned, nobody cared who was black and who was white. We've come at least that far in race relations in America. But it was not so very long ago, sad to say, that where you went to watch the national pastime being played depended on the color of your skin. This way to the white game, that way to the black. It was that way in the stands because it was that way on the field. There was a Negro League for black fans to watch, while white fans were watching the majors. I say that this was not so very long ago, and here is proof from Bob McNamara in the form of living memory.
They are old men on a pilgrimage, come to remember their glory days.
Yeah, all right.
Come to keep the country from forgetting.
You okay? That's everybody?
Slowed by the clock, bound by their color, the men who made up the old Negro League finally have a museum.
It was an honor to play in that league.
That's not your
That's right.
The man had the biggest glove in baseball.
Oh, he could hit the floor, he fell out of bed.
Yeah.
I didn't get there still.
That's got wood in it. That was good wood.
A half century after Jackie Robinson broke the game's color barrier,
Yeah.
more than 200 Negro League players have reunited.
And this is the vainest little catcher that I have ever seen in my life. Most of us we played against one another. That's right. And now we're sort of what you would call brothers in baseball.
Together, they remember the way the world used to be. For more than 50 years, black crowds packed ballparks to cheer their heroes. Banned from the white major leagues, black players barnstormed America. They spent hours on buses and battle segregation, playing big league ball, often for bush league pay.
There's a story there that I think is inspiring, and it's a story that America can love.
Historian Phil Dixon has spent 2 decades tracking and telling the story of the Negro League.
These are all the games from every team of the Negro National League in 1920.
Filling his basement with files.
I would really like to see people understand how great these ball players were.
And photographs.
Those guys worked. They worked. There were many that could have made the major leagues, and baseball history would have been completely different had they been in there, and that's the reason why they weren't allowed to get in there, because that was well known.
Baseball today, let me tell you something. They can bunt.
He is the country's oldest living baseball player, black or white.
I played from 1920 until 56, 36 years. Nobody ever played that long.
And at 93, Ted Double Duty Radcliffe is still on top of his game.
I had a good curveball than anybody ever lived. I had good control than anybody in the world.
At his home in Chicago, he lives surrounded by mementos and memories.
We had some hard times. Jackie Robinson didn't have no hard time. We stopped at a filling station to get some gas. And one of the boys got out the bus and got a Coca-Cola bottle. He said, "Nigga, put that bottle down. White folk use bottle. Get them holes and drink out of it." So I wouldn't buy no gas. I said, "Come on, we ain't gonna buy." And we got a mile out on the road and run out of gas. We had to push this 5 miles. I laughed at myself.
He still loves baseball.
I wonder what the score is. That's what I'm waiting for.
Big cigars and bragging about his days as a ladies' man.
Ladies is my life. I love ladies better than I did baseball. But I had to have the baseball to get the ladies.
Today, their old stadiums are all but gone. Their long-ago games all but forgotten. But the players who filled these seats are enjoying a bittersweet new beginning. With a generation of new fans lining up for autographs.
To have all of these gentlemen together at one time is an extraordinary event.
They are veterans of America's war over race.
Joe Johnson, Gene Benson,
Men who left their mark on the country's conscience.
John Buck O'Neill.
And it did change things. It did change things. If it hadn't changed things, you wouldn't be here talking to me now. This wouldn't mean a damn.
So many years after they first met.
Good to see you.
So many years after they learned to play the game.
You laid a bet on the ball.
In so many ways, they've won.
And if you could wheel him right forward to the edge of the grass.
When they were young, their lives were hard lessons on the high cost of division.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Today, their old age
1,
has become a portrait
2,
of determination.
3.
At BASF, we don't make the cooler. We make it cooler. We don't make the jeans. We make them bluer. We don't make the toys. We make them tougher. We don't make the water scooter. We make it lighter. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better. BASF.
From IBM. See and hear me at Radio Shack.
At Cigna, we care about people who have babies. We care about people who have cancer. We care about companies that make steel and about companies that make bread. We care about people whose lives have been shattered and the people who help pick up the pieces. We care about life. and about all that makes life great, or possible, or just better. At Cigna, we care because it is our business to care, and because the more we care, the better our business does. But we also care because, well, because we have babies too. Cigna, a business of caring.
In their own words, is the story of a collector, not of weather vanes or clocks or bric-a-brac, not of quilts or old bottles or antique signs. The man Jerry Bowen is about to take us to meet collects wisdom. And how would you do that? Ask people about their lives is how, and then listen to them.
It's where Minnesota stops and the Mississippi keeps running that the town of Lansing, Iowa hugs the riverbank. It's the river that has shaped the land and the land that has shaped the people.
Why I find this region special is because of the people who live here. I've lived in 11 different states in many different cities and towns, and I've never met their like before.
And one hot summer night, they kicked up the dust on the road to Bob Wolf's place, brought their homemade food and homemade stories to a potluck supper.
Do you know what you're going to read?
Well, writing instructor Bob Wolf pulled his neighbors together, farmers and small-town folks alike, and pulled stories out of them on winter nights round dining room tables.
I get into reading those things. That's going to bring up old emotions.
His neighbors were stunned by his interest. They considered their lives quite ordinary.
Really love that essay.
But the former Chicago newspaper columnist and one-time college professor did not. Bob Wolf was driven by a dream, a desire to collect the folk stories of Middle America before they were lost. So, 17-year-old Hannah Chesmore wrote,
My story is called $4.65 because when you're my age, that's what you make.
on life behind the counter at the Dairy Queen.
When he approaches the window, nobody wants to collect the money from him. They either complain about how much it costs, or he'll make a pass at us. It's hardly a turn-on. Several times he asked girls to marry him. However, I don't believe anyone has ever accepted.
62-year-old farmer Bob Leffert on the future.
If only I could get a fair price for all the food I produce, I could make some machinery purchases which would help the hometown people and would put many people back to work in the factories again.
It is not great literature, not the sylvan words of Yeats, but the simple joys and worries of yesterday, written in the plain language of a people watching their America change.
We lived on a third of the egg check, which varied from $5 to $25 a week. From that money, we bought things that we couldn't raise ourselves.
It's a composite picture of people struggling against mounting odds, and a portrait of their daily work, their dignity and integrity.
Not unlike the fictional character in the Broadway musical, The Music Man, who sold the people of River City, Iowa on the idea of expressing themselves through music, Bob Wolf has also traveled from town to town, encouraging people to express themselves through writing their chapter of the American story. In Nashville, Tennessee, it was the homeless, and here in northeastern Iowa, it's the farming families and the small town folks.
What was my sales pitch? Here's a chance to talk about farming and your way of life, and something that may be vanishing, a way of life that's disappearing.
Wolf asked the Lefferts, Bob and Barbara, to join his writer's workshop.
We thought he was crazy. We really did. We thought this was some kind of nut. How in the world does he think farmers are ever going to do any writing and have people care enough to read it?
My wife and I just kept saying no, and he kept asking again and again, and I guess he made one statement when he was talking. He said, well, if you can talk, all you got to do is just put that down in writing, and you're writing. And so You know, and here we are, just plain country people, writing, and it was it was different.
And one by one, the small paperback books appeared, published by Bob Wolf's Free River Press.
The record of change. I mean, what they're writing is a record.
And the books sold out in local communities up and down the river. In writing, they had to overcome the fear that they were revealing too much.
Right. And to some extent, some of them did overcome that fear, but most of them just never gave up that reticence. I mean, it's just very much different from an urban group that you might work with, where there's this almost the urge to confession. There's not that. There is this reticence, and there's this ethic that you deal with your own problems on your own.
The willingness to step beyond the fear of what other people think is probably the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome.
It was especially wrenching for David Mitchell, forced to quit farming after 27 years for a town job, delivering LP gas.
You learn a lot about yourself.
He worked on a diary in the writer's workshop. Do you recall what your emotions were as you were writing this diary?
Well, they were painful. And yet, just revealing that personal pain was a hard thing because of overcoming the pride of being a man and the struggle with trying to keep our heads above water, with the finances.
My story deals with the next generation of people moving into small towns.
So they read their stories on that Iowa summer night. Jerry Kelly about the ribbon of road that runs through Claremont, his hometown.
I don't share the opinion that these are the worst times in 50 years. And the reason I disagree is very simple. The next generation of people who migrate and settle here are the ones driving through our town on US 18 today. Times they are changing. The next time you're on Highway 18, wave at the drivers and the cars that you meet. One of them might be your new neighbor.
One day, Clarence was plowing with a team of horses.
86-year-old Clara Leppert and the wolves that roamed her farm once upon a time.
So he and a neighbor looked in the woods as it was getting dark. They found 5 baby wolves in a hollow tree. I feel sure they were awfully cute, but the wolves were killing baby calves, so they felt forced to kill them. Clarence said the poor mother wolf clawed at the tree all night.
Really glad it's going to be over soon.
And David Mitchell, a tiny book in his husky hands, a voice near cracking, on the farming life he lost.
As we say our goodbyes, my mind goes back to the farm and the sale, especially the accomplishments and failures of the last 27 years that we farmed. It's like they say, the longer I've been away from full-time farming, the less I want to go back to it and be a slave to machinery and other things.
Iowa, beautiful land, cared for.
The evening ended when Bonnie Kolak sang, words and music she wrote. A love song to the land and the people shaped by it. Small town folks and farmers alike who decided they had a story to tell.
Iowa, beautiful land.
In searching for a luxury performance sedan, Michael Young tested the Oldsmobile LSS against 3 of the fastest Japan has to offer: the Infiniti J30, Lexus ES300, and teppanyaki chef Yasu Norimoto. And while his 240 horsepower LSS was no match for Yasu's speed, not only did Mr. Young fare much better against the imports, he had them for lunch. Will the LSS pass your test?
In every number, there is a question.
is their life after retirement? How far will your company go? In every number, there is a question. And if you have the vision to see it, an answer. You see numbers, we see opportunities.
Come on, guys.
Hi, Fran. How are you? Coffee and a jelly fill. Complete bran flakes. 50 stairs, like I can't make a change. What's with you? I look like this when I joined the force? Well, no. I eat junk all day. I come home, I say I'm going to work out. I never do. I got to do something.
Thousands of people have started turning their lives around with 4 little words. Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes.
Hey, Fran. Can I make a switch here? I feel like I'm married to you.
Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes. It's a start.
Helen Yates is 96. Her life is full of family and laughter. Though for years, she battled severe high blood pressure. With proper care and medicine we developed at Pfizer, Helen was able to go on. To Norway at 79, the West Indies at 93, and now Paris. Pfizer, we're part of the cure.
On 60 Minutes this evening here on CBS, Ed Bradley will talk with the man some have called the king of the deadbeat dads. It is a jailhouse interview, by the way. Jeffrey Nichols was imprisoned for failing to pay child support. When our trumpet sounds next week, we will travel out to Yellowstone National Park, where something can be heard just now that has not been heard in those parts for generations: the howling of wolves. We leave you this morning in the Antipodes, clear on the other side of the planet. Things are different in Australia, you know. It is Monday there, for one thing, and springtime. And even their swans are different. I'm Charles Osgood. We hope you'll join us here again next Sunday morning. Until then, I'll see you on the radio.
For a printed transcript, send $5 to Sunday Morning Transcript, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039. For a video cassette of selected segments of This Sunday Morning, call 1-800-242-7747.
Have you seen your country today?
Is Colin Powell conservative enough for Republican voters? Former Education Secretary William Bennett and New Hampshire's Governor Merrill face the nation today.
From Cambodia to Bosnia, 100 million landmines lie in wait for someone to step on one. And Bosnia is where our troops are headed. 60 Minutes, tonight.
She came to New Orleans to escape a dark past, but when he met her...
If I didn't know you was my wife's sister, I'd get ideas about you.
He became obsessed with destroying her.
He hates me.
Alec Baldwin, Jessica Lange, Diane Lane, and John Goodman. Tonight, a story of sweltering passion. A streetcar named Desire.
You're on CBS.
You know, a lot of people think that all Italian clothing is expensive. Well, that used to be the case, but now the Men's Warehouse has positioned one of our employees in Italy supervising the direct production of our Italian clothing. That's why we can offer quality Italian suits from $300. That's great value. I guarantee it.
Now open in Lloyd Center, lower level near Marshall's.
There is a new kind of richness born of the sun. From high atop the mountains of Colombia, richness with flavor so rare, you will find it only in Folger's new Colombian Supreme. A Colombian coffee like no other. Colombian beans, expertly roasted and ground, make this Colombian even darker than the leading Colombian brand. Dark, yet not bitter. Folger's Colombian Supreme captures Colombia.